Okay. What's up, gamer guys and gamer gals? Don't look at this. Yo, what's up, boys and girls? It's your boy Swolelax here, and I'm back at it again with another video. This time something just a little bit different. And today, let's talk about something really exciting, but also really scary. You may have seen this go around last week as it was making the rounds. An email was sent out to different tournament stores from Konami regarding alternative Yu-Gi-Oh! Formats. Ta-da! This was the leaked email. Like I said, you may have already seen this. A lot of people are talking about this. It's very exciting. This is one of the first times that we've seen from Konami acknowledging alternative formats that are not speed duels or structure deck duels. And it's really cool to see the community response. In fact, some people even have Discords already set up for some of these events so you can get down the meta. And today we're going to talk about why I'm actually worried. It's not all doom and gloom. I do like this announcement. I think it's really cool. However, I do have some concerns, especially because I think I know why they made this announcement. So today I want to talk about potentially the officially sanctioned Konami alternative formats that they are going to support. This is both amazing and has me terrified. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And without further ado, let's go ahead and read what this email has to say. Alternative formats. Sometimes your Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG community wants to duel, but would like to play with a twist. Up until now, the options have been limited. Yeah, no kidding. However, we are excited to announce that we have created some alternative formats for your duelists to enjoy. Alternative format events would be run just like your weekly local tournament. Duelists would pay $5 to receive one OTS pack and entry into the tournament. So I'm going to be talking about the specific formats inside of the email, starting with ones that I think are the least interesting, and then also down to the ones that I think I have the most to say about, or they are the most interesting. Rivalry of the Warlords. We are excited to announce a new program that you will surely want to participate in. Rivalry of the Warlords. This will be a fun and easy way to introduce duelists to themes that they have not commonly played. Okay, so this one is the least interesting in my opinion, because for the most part, and from what it sounds like, and from what we know about the card Rivalry of Warlords, more than likely this will just be like either Gozen match rules or Rivalry of Warlords rules, where duelists can only pick a deck and build with monotype. Essentially, it's the monotype for Pokemon if you're familiar with that. You have to build a deck, and the completed deck outside of spells and trap cards, aka the monsters, extra deck, etc., can only exist of one typing or one attribute. We don't really know exactly if that's true, but if I had to put money down, that's probably what I would say for this. Kind of neat, but ultimately just, okay, yeah, that's cool. I guess Warriors is going to be the best deck. I don't know, there's a lot of Warrior support. Still a neat concept though, but we'll see. The next one's for all you rogue players out there. It's Heart of the Underdog. As duelists test their deck building skills, they often find that certain decks are more powerful than the rest. Currently, Drytron and Tri-Brigade decks are quite powerful. For Heart of the Underdog format events, OTS determine the deck types that duelists are not allowed to use for the event, such as Drytron or Tri-Brigade, allowing for a more casual tournament where duelists can enjoy new and interesting card interactions and explore fun archetypes that they didn't normally make the cut. Heart of the Underdog is also very interesting because essentially it's just like giving a bone to all the rogue players out there that hate the meta sheep, and I think it's kind of neat. Alternatively, I don't know how many people realistically will want to play this format, as it's just going to be like normal Yu-Gi-Oh, normal modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but you just can't play whatever the top, like, I don't know, 5 decks are in the format. I'm not even quite sure how to really balance this list either, because obviously there will be rogue decks that are going to be tier 1 inside of this format. So then what, do you just ban those? This format is clearly for the people that go into EDO Pro or on Dueling Book and say no links, no XZs, and literally just strike like a billion things about Yu-Gi-Oh they don't happen to like. And also maybe it's for people who are sick and tired of the modern format, but still want to play like modern Yu-Gi-Oh and not past formats. Speaking of past formats, excellent transitions, Swolelax. Time Wizard format. This one is probably my most favorite. The Time Wizard format is a way for your OTS to sanction retro format tournaments. The tournament setting will revolve around the rules and mechanics of the game as they were played during a specific point in time. All that is required for setting up the tournament is the Forbidden and Limited list, being used in the latest legal set. This is really cool in my opinion because they're throwing a bone to past format junkies. It's no secret I love GOAT format, and I've been kind of interested in Edison format because of people like MBT. Also, other formats have been really cool to look into, specifically with different hero decks. Essentially, the top two formats I think are the most popular are things like GOAT, maybe Gladiator Beast, Plant Tengu, and this in my opinion is a really cool way that I think OTS stores can really reward but also support past format players that maybe they don't really like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe they have a bunch of old cards. Maybe there's someone that's like, man, I haven't picked up the game since like 2011, and then you're like, oh. So that's kind of neat. Essentially, if you like GOAT format, if you like Edison, if you like past Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is the format for you. People have been already doing this, but the fact that we're getting official tournament prizing for it is kind of neat, and I think this will be the one that most OTS stores try to make an actual day out of. The last one on the list is definitely the most divisive, as we really don't know a lot about how the mechanics are going to work, but the one before that is, I think, an actually really cool concept, especially if you're a big fan of deck building and trying to figure out how to make the best deck possible in a limited card pool. The format is called Common Charity. For Common Charity format events, duelists would need to build a deck using common cards. This applies to all parts of the deck, the main deck, the side deck, and the extra deck. This is similar to the Cast Party Pegasus Challenge, oh my god. It restricts to just common cards instead of allowing duelists to select the rarity of their deck. There's already a Discord and community and tournaments for this format, and I think that's really cool. Obviously, people are really hyped for it, and while on initial inception, everyone's like, yo, Gokis are insane. Turns out there's a lot more diversity into this format than you might think, and it definitely gives those budget Andes out there time to shine. MBT has a pretty cool video on Common Charity that you guys can check out. I'll link that in the description down below. Essentially, this format just says, hey, if the card comes in common, then you can play it. If it doesn't, see ya. So pack, engage, avert your eyes. What's really interesting about this one in particular is that it specifically notates a rarity, which is only applicable to the physical card game. The rest of the formats you could feasibly play online. But Common Charity specifically is best applied to and can be best applied to the physical TCG, and that'll be important later. But for the most part, this one's really cool. I think if you like deck building, trying to figure out a new way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That's not just old school Yu-Gi-Oh!, then this one might be the one for you. I'll be trying it out personally too. I'm really excited. The last one on our list is definitely the worst. Based on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime arc when Noah Kaiba brought Yugi and friends into a virtual world to duel, each duel allowed the duelist to select a deck master to help them in multiple ways. Duelists begin each match by selecting a monster to serve as a deck master. The deck master begins each game outside of the deck. Any effects of the monster apply as if the monster were face up on the field. That's a problem. Duelists can normal summon the deck master to the field, ignoring any summoning requirements anytime they would be able to normal summon. Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, and Link monsters do not need material, and if the deck master is destroyed, the duelist loses the game. So, this format sucks. I don't know how to really sugarcoat this one. It will be really interesting to see how this one plays out. Like I said, it's the most divisive of the formats. You can either have really interesting, cool builds with deck masters that you might not see, or you're gonna get, I don't know, Jinzo, warrior from a different dimension. Maybe it's an FTK loop and the piece that they need is unsearchable. There's a lot of problems and clarifications that definitely need to happen with deck master. Not saying this format isn't cool, but the fact of the matter that it's already set up to be like, well, if all effects are applied at all times, then clearly cards that say you cannot play the game are just it. That seems like it's just the meta. And then on top of that, what's the card pool? Is there a ban list? Is that up to the OTS stores? Who knows? While I don't necessarily have a lot to say about Deckmaster, I do think that it's going to be one of the most interesting formats to follow to see if 1, it gets continued support, 2, if people still play it, or 3, it'll just crash and burn and we're going to forget about it and we're just going to play the other formats. But we shall see. So those are all the formats that we know of and that we see that Konami is interested in providing support for local tournament stores. Obviously, this is really exciting. Like I said, we get finally alternative formats that aren't just speed duels or they're sealed events. I personally love past formats that aren't super toxic. If you guys want more info on that, I would definitely check the links in the description down below. There's some great channels for past content there, including a video by MBT as well. And so I think this is really cool. but also extremely terrifying. Just hear me out on this one. It may just be crazy tinfoil hat Swolelax, but at the end of the day, I have some concerns. I think the further implications are much more troublesome. Okay, so obviously the elephant in the room is that Master Duel, the new Yu-Gi-Oh game and simulator, is coming out soon. I'm predicting it's gonna come out sometime in February or March, but we'll see. Copium. With Master Duel on the horizon, that is going to be one of the easiest, most accessible ways for players to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Whether it be competitively through the story mode, online, just building decks and cards. We finally have an official Konami simulator that seems and looks pretty good. But for the most part, this seems as if to be the way Konami wants to play digital Yu-Gi-Oh! Swolelax, what does that have to do with OTS stores? Let me tell you, if I'm Konami, and I'm the Konami TCG representatives, I'm thinking to myself, how can we add value back to the physical card game? We had this new digital release that everyone's gonna be hyped about, a lot of people are gonna be spending time with, and we're obviously going to have support for. But where does that leave our local environments? Because I can tell you from personal experience, I think that locals vary for a lot of people. For me personally, where I'm at in my area, I had a local close down back in, I wanna say it was like maybe May or June of last year, and that was my closest local. It was really great, I had a good time there, good feel. You will be missed, Docs Comics. But now if I want to go to locals each week, I have to drive an hour away. Well, Swolelax, I have to drive like 2-3 hours every single week of me going to locals. Thank you very much. An hour is not that bad. Look, listen, if it's an hour, 2 hours, however long it is to get to your local OTS, to pay the entry fee, and then go X2, X3, that's all I gotta say. I still have a good time when I go to the locals that's an hour away, and I even went there when the other locals that was like, 5 minutes from me was still open, so the distance isn't really that big of an issue. It's just kind of another factor that leads me to say that there will be a more convenient, official way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That I can do in the comfort of my home. It's not remote dueling, the interface and all these things are a little more accessible. And while it doesn't necessarily support the cards I already own, it will also be new, which I'll want to put time into. Whereas I might not be as enticed to go to locals anymore because it's an hour away, it's inconvenient, and it's incredibly dependent on what cards I have purchased and with me physically. With the way that you obtain cards instead of Master Duel and the crafting system, it might be easier to build and create and play decks. Why would I want to be inconvenienced for like 5 hours when I can just jam out on some Yu-Gi-Oh! So I think one of the reasons why Konami is acknowledging these alternative formats and providing price support is because they want to add value back to the OTS stores. I'm not saying attendance is low, I'm not saying that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is dying, but with this new frontier that we're about to venture into, there is a legitimate argument to be made that, I don't know, a lot more people might not show up to locals. It's like the first of my worries, the tip of the iceberg really. The other two are a little more tinfoil hatty, but they have much less founded claims in my opinion. The second reason why I'm scared is because I think players are getting disenfranchised with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! What I mean by this is I think over time people have really just been tired of the new formats and how modern has really been shaping. I know that since 2018, people were tired of TOS format, and things have gotten better for sure. We've been in and out of good and bad formats, but particularly with the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh!, I think a lot of people are just jonesing for something else, for something radical. It's not even necessarily modern format. At the start of the pandemic, a lot of people were investing inside of alt formats and past formats to try to experiment around and just, we didn't have any in-person live events. So, why not go backwards? In addition to a peak interest inside of past formats, a lot of Yu-Gi-Tubers and a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! YouTube is consumed about past Yu-Gi-Oh! Formats and past jank, past history. Shoutouts to Simo. And then it's reinforced by Yu-Gi-Oh! Streamers like Farfa and Pac playing past format with other people. People had time to sit down, learn formats, play things, experience new things inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! Instead of the hustle and bustle of these crazier and crazier sets. And this is a very positive reason. I'm not necessarily scared of this reason. I think it's great to give power to the players, but it is a factor in the way that I think Konami also sees that players are getting disenfranchised with the modern version of Yu-Gi-Oh! And finally, this is the most unfounded, most irrational fear that I have from this announcement, is that Yu-Gi-Oh! Will get crazier. Let me explain. What are the odds that on the horizon we get crazier and crazier new support, that the game becomes unsalvageable and unrecognizable from what we know as Yu-Gi-Oh! And we've seen this before. Konami likes to introduce new mechanics and new ways to play the game to shake it up. And while Master Duel might actually be the new thing to where we don't get a new mechanic or a new playstyle, my fear is that if the card direction is going even more absurd and even more powerful, then is this a way to balance power creep and to keep your players involved in the game while not necessarily being interested in balancing the current game? I don't know. Like I said, this one's literally just ridiculous, but it is a worry that I have that potentially this is going to be a factor when these alternative formats do get officially sanctioned. So yeah, maybe I'm a little scared. I think that Master Duel is potentially going to siphon interest away from local tournament stores. I think that players are getting disenfranchised and have been getting disenfranchised with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And then maybe the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just that dark. I don't know. We'll have to see. All these fears and all these great positives, I'm actually really excited. I think that the fear and the excitement is combining into something that I'm looking forward to, and I'll be really interested to see what kind of creativity and the insane decks that everyone's able to play. And all these fears might be absolutely thrown out the window as I'll be consumed with Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And truth be told, I might drive that extra hour just to, you know, play some GOAT, play some Edison, try to get really into it, bring heroes to a forefront, let's go. Maybe there's a common charity event, I'll have to check that out if I'm ever at a YCS. I didn't even talk about these tournaments being run at big events. That would be a big pog. But we shall see. What do you guys think of it? What do you guys think of these officially supported alternative formats? Do you guys like them? Do you guys hate them? How would you rank them? Do you guys like Deckmaster? Let me know into the comment section down below your thoughts and opinions, and if you're excited for the future. If you like this video, make sure to leave it a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I got a lot more videos coming in the pipeline, so stay tuned for that if you would like to. As well, hit the notification button. Sometimes YouTube doesn't necessarily update things, so that'd be a nice way to keep track and to support the channel for absolutely no cost. But yeah, I think that's all I gotta say about this. What do you guys think? Talk to you later. Peace out.